Welcome to the No Dick Pics podcast. I'm Christina.
I'm Max.
This is episode 30. We've done 30 of these. That's
What
impressive.
have you learned?
So much about podcasting?
No, what have you learned just about overall?
Overall?
Dating,
It's fucked up.
lifestyles.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy people out there, and I am very glad to be out of that world. So thanks.
Yeah, it's very toxic.
It is.
Like when you're on those apps, even though like you want I want attention,
Mm-hmm.
and like and then you get excited, but it's also that like, why isn't anyone talking to me? I always would tell people, and I've probably said this like a million times, like everyone's like, oh, it's not the apps, it's the people. They just create these apps. Now, yeah, everyone's like, oh, well, we don't put, the robots or the scammers but you can't, if someone's going to scam you, they're going to scam you.
Mm-hmm.
But I always tell people, it's not the apps, it's the people. The apps are just set up to do their job. I mean, yeah, some are a little sketchy than others.
I think part of it, I think, is the apps is that they become like addictive, and it becomes like, I can meet anyone. Like, fuck this person. They blinked weird. I don't want to talk to them anymore, So, like, I'm going to jump in the...
I just find it weird, like, I guess, when you've lived in two societies where it's like before phones and the apps took over, like how you used to meet people, and like now it's like, and that's what everyone says, like, oh, it's so easy because that's all, you get on an app and you just meet a bunch of people. But like it takes like it takes the tough part, like the part that you hated doing, walking up to someone, trying to get like small talk going. I mean, obviously you're at like a concert or a bar or a restaurant or whatever, but it's just taking that courage. And we'd always say, like, I need some liquid courage before I go up there. And now it kind of takes it away, and you kind of like, you present yourself. I mean, I know people still meet organically, but I mean, a lot of them don't. Like even the 20, 21-year-olds are meeting on apps, which is that's crazy to me. But it's just like, I don't even know what they do anymore. I mean, we used to have our spots where you'd go and hang out and stuff, but I just don't think, with everything going on. And
I think people don't value connections the way they used to because they feel like they could just jump online and find another one. But like real connections are not any easier to find than they were before. Like truly connecting with someone where you could actually have good conversations with them, and you really
I would love to hear from someone in college.
Yeah.
To see if it's still like.
I think they don't know any differently though, right?
Like, do you meet like you can meet people on campus, but are there are apps more involved with colleges, or because originally Facebook, that's what Facebook was for, only college students,
right?
College emails.
It was like a college Facebook, but I think a lot of them use apps, but I think they're not looking for the same thing that like our age group is looking for. Well, and some people in our age group are looking for the same thing, but like I think they're not looking for my forever person at 21 or 22. They're just looking to meet someone and have fun. I think as you get older, it becomes more of a, I want to find a real partner for some people. Some people are just on it for fun. A lot of people are.
Yeah.
But I think it becomes a game to some people where there's just one little thing and they're just like, nope, I'm done. I'm going to jump back in and find someone different. And I think in the real world, if you had met that person in real life, you developed a real connection with them, you're going to probably give them more of a chance, especially if you took your time to get to know them first. Like you didn't jump onto a date right away. You were just like acquaintances at first.
And social skills are kind of not what they used to be either.
No, kids don't know how to answer phones.
Right, but people just don't know how to talk to people.
And
I mean, I'd be curious to like get a college person on to see like how the dynamics change, because like when I went to college, like that's all, like you were there to meet people, and you meet people from different colleges, different universities, meet people through people. And then now I'm curious.
Still happening, but I think dating is being approached probably a little bit differently because they have the apps. So I don't know, but I did.
And Instagram and Facebook, like it's a whole different.
I did listen to something that was like, when people want to meet someone in the wild and they don't want to use apps, and they're like, I don't know how to do that. And it was actually Mel Robbins. It was on the U Up podcast, and she said, talk to people in lines. If you don't know where to meet people, if you're waiting in line somewhere, talk to the person in front of you. Talk to the person behind you. Say hi to people.
I talked to someone at Starbucks like a year or two ago, and I told this story, and like I thought she seemed like interested, so I tried to do small talk, and she looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And the guy behind me laughed. He's like, what do you get for, under 30-year-olds? And she just was like, oh, Like, it
She was
was
under
like,
30?
well, obviously, because when he said it, she was so upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you're going to get bad reactions, I guess, sometimes. And you're going to get normal people who are just like, I'm going to interact with this other human. And it could be nothing. It could just be a hello and a goodbye, and that's it. Or it could turn into something if it's like someone
I just don't
interesting,
think people know how to talk, because so the whole point was, I was, I think I had two things from Starbucks. So my first order came, and they're like, Maximilian. And so that always, like, she was like, oh, that's such a cool name. I'm like, thank you. Yeah, I was da da da. Well, what's your name? She's like, and I'm like, well, I almost want to say, oh, I'm going to find out when they call your fucking order. But she just like, wait, I don't want to give you my name. I was like, wow. And I
Yeah.
was like, never mind, don't worry about it. Have a good day. And the guy behind me laughs like, you can't talk to people under 30. And she's just like, ugh, and like moved over. So I was like, yeah, all right. I
Yeah.
mean, when someone starts it, it's like, yeah, I'm going to talk. Even if I'll talk, like I talk to people online when we're waiting anyway, just to kill time. It's like, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think
It's
it's a lost
interesting.
skill. It's something that people are doing less and less because everyone's online. And even if you're like not on apps, like for dating, if you're just someone who's seen, or if you're not looking for a relationship or whatever, everyone's in their phone anyway, all the time. We're both guilty of it,
Yeah.
Like, you're not interacting with, if you're in a waiting room, you're not going to interact with anyone else in a waiting room. You're going to be on your phone. You're not going to talk to some stranger. You're going to be like, I'm checking Facebook, I'm checking Instagram. So I think it's
It's a
a
weird
lost skill.
dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter had a class called Create and Connect, and I was so happy she had it. I don't think she liked it so much, but it was about like going in front of the class and giving a
Mm-hmm.
speech, doing speeches in groups and presentations. And I always told her, like, you're gonna like that class is gonna help you, because she is kind of shy in front of people, like how I
Right.
was. But it'll help you because like the more and more you're able to talk to people, and that's one thing like grad school helped with me. Like they pretty much said, because I was going to grad school right when the kids were born, so 2012, 2013. So the teachers were like, we want to make sure you can do research without the internet. But to me, that was my whole school career.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fine for me, but it was always getting up in front of the class. And then your final project after 2 years was you get up in front of people in an auditorium, even though there wasn't a ton of people, but it was one of those where the seats go up, and it's intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty cool. But it's like, the people that can talk and the people that can't.
Obviously, we both like to talk because we have a podcast. But like, there are times where like I had to present in a meeting in front of a couple hundred people, and I got nervous, and I was just like, why am I love talking, why am I nervous? But in a professional setting, when you're talking in front of that many people, it's kind of like, ugh. But like,
Yep.
I mean, I did okay, but I'm always better if I can be more casual. If I can be casual, if I can joke around, if I can do stuff like that, then I'm fine. But if it's a super formal like presentation, that's harder to do because you're just like, you can't be yourself as much. So yeah.
And it's Super Bowl Sunday, so
It is Super Bowl Sunday. When this airs, it'll be over.
I'm pulling for the Eagles, but the Chiefs are gonna pull it out.
It's also Valentine's Day week. So fun week. You're so excited, right?
Oh, I hate Valentine's Day.
Why do you hate Valentine's Day?
I just think it's just a holiday for like, I don't know, it's like just a fake like romantic holiday. I get it. Like when I was younger, it was a big day with kids. Like everyone would give each other Valentine's Day cards. It was cool. But now it's like men are expected to like go above and beyond, and a lot
See,
of
I
these
don't know that it's just men though.
but a lot of these guys will go like, just go out of their way to do it, and that's not really them. And then they kind of, especially if you like first start dating around Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
So,
that's tricky.
I don't know. Because it's funny because Sweetest Day is supposed to be for the guys, but you never hear about that.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
But it's nothing.
So,
I don't mind it. Like it's cute and stuff, but I think people expect too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone from work gets flowers, then the other women are kind of like, wait, we're, I don't know. I mean, it's if you take it for what it is, but I just,
I love it just because I love love and all that, but it's also rough because it's rough when first of all, if you're single, it's like just a blatant reminder that you're single.
Maybe
like,
it's for women, but for guys, like it's any other day.
I don't think it's just for women. I think it's for both.
But I mean, if you're single on Valentine's Day, like I don't, that never affected me. I
Oh,
was
see,
like,
I think it affects women
oh
more
well.
because like they are at work, they are watching these people get flowers and teddy bears and candy and all this stuff, and they're like, cool, cool, you know? So it's just like a reminder. Like I've seen things like Valentine's Day is Single Awareness Day, just to remind you you're single. So I get it. I don't know that I've had a
And
fully
it's on a
single.
Friday, so every restaurant is going to be
Oh yeah,
slammed.
yeah. So we're gonna like make pizzas with the kids or something. Um, but I don't
Watch
know. Like,
SmackDown.
so I think it was because we were pretty new into dating each other when it was Valentine's Day last year. But I think it was perfect because like we didn't do anything huge. It was like not a huge giant romantic gesture because you didn't know if we were going to be together, so you didn't like plan ahead because we had just started dating. So I'd be like, that'd be crazy to go plan something huge for someone that you've only been dating for a month, you know? So we did like we just hung out here. He made me dinner. That's the first time you cooked for me. And
And the
then
last, no,
oh, it wasn't the last. I mean, for dinner? No, you made dinner. But like it was just very like it was perfect for where we were in our relationship. Honestly, it'd be perfect now too. Like I don't know, I don't need a ton. I just like I want to be with you. So I don't really care what we're doing as long as we're together. That's all I care about. But I don't know. I think it was like the perfect date for where we were. I think if you're single, just go out anyway. Like, well, maybe don't go to like a restaurant where it's you have to book it
but
two
it's the
months in advance.
perception.
But
Like it's the same perception that like Cheesecake Factory is considered a bad first date. I'm like, what? It's a decent restaurant.
I don't know.
You don't want to.
I'm curious to why. I want to know why it's on that list. I get why Chipotle is on my list because I don't want to go to Chipotle on a first date. But
And it was
like,
Applebee's, Chili's, and Olive Garden, which I
I love
agree
that
with all of them.
Applebee's is on there when it was in the story last
Yeah,
week
I
too.
know.
That's funny.
But you know right away. Like if someone says, "Oh yeah, I went on a date with someone. Where'd you go?" "Oh, I went to Chili's." Not to knock Chili's. I just like it's like TGI Fridays. It's like there's certain places like you take friends and kids, or you go when you're dating and just want to get a bite to eat.
Or
Like
stuck at the
those,
airport.
yeah.
you
But those
know.
first couple dates, like it doesn't have to be like expensive, but just
Mm-hmm.
go somewhere like that's why I would always do like Cooper's Hawk. It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I got food and wine, so if the date sucks, I'm in it. And I used to do like a Mexican restaurant in Arlington Heights, depending on where they lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always do like a lunch date with those, just because it's easier, especially with like parents and stuff. It's tougher, but I would always go somewhere where like at least it's like good food.
Mm-hmm.
Being half Italian, like I can't. I mean, Olive Garden. I used to go there for the kids. I still remember my dad because my grandfather, when he was alive, he lived to about 101, but in his like 90s, he just 100% Italian. He loved Olive Garden, and I just remember my dad every time we'd go there. He's like, "Oh my god," because you know. But I mean, I don't know for like a first date, like a first couple dates.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It depends on who the person
But I
is,
mean, if
and
you like the person, it doesn't really matter where you
right,
go.
right. It's just
So,
that being able to spend
but for
time to get
some
to know
reason,
them.
like the Cheesecake Factory's gotten like a raw deal. I
I
think they
know.
have good
What
food.
was that list from? Was that just a
It
post that you
started
saw?
It started with like a video or something.
We should have saved it. We could have read from the
This
list.
girl like freaked out about like Cheesecake Factory, and the guy's like, and that it became a thing, and everyone's like, yeah, like to me, Cheesecake Factory, they're usually in or attached to a mall.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw, yeah, even the Vegas ones, and like it wasn't Caesars. Uh, I mean, it's decent. I mean, it's not the worst. I mean, it's good food, good dessert. I mean,
Yeah.
so
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think the people who get mad about little things like that, I think that's a little bit of a petty
no,
thing
they
to
want
get
more.
upset
They want to
about.
be.
Yeah.
They feel like they're type of person. Like I'm attractive. I'm a good person. Like you need to wine and dine me, and
I
that's
don't
the.
see that's the thing. Like, I don't even think you need to do a dinner date. Like, I'd be fine with coffee or drinks or whatever. Like, a dinner date's great. That's really nice. That's very
And then if you
generous.
go
But like,
all
you
in
don't
on
need
the
to do
first
it.
two dates, you're like, and then she's like, if she's that type of person, she's gonna expect more and more, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah, that's expensive to keep up
But
forever.
some women have
you
different. I
know.
mean, men and women, they have different ways of how they're looking at stuff. Like
Yeah.
some women feel like they should be wine and dine to the fullest, and
Mm-hmm.
they're full of themselves, and even some men probably feel the same way
Yeah.
too.
Some
So
people have high expectations, which I don't think there's anything wrong for setting the bar high, but I think when it becomes materialistic and becomes about things and status and stuff instead of the actual connection you're making, that's when it's like, well, what are you actually looking for? Are you actually looking for someone that you can connect with? Or are you looking for luxury and like being like things
it's
that
that joke,
are
right? That video
materialistic?
where the check comes and the guy's like, "Do you want to split it?" And he's like, "Are we going back to your place?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "Yep, we're splitting it." So
Yeah. I have a friend, I had polled a couple guys about, because we're going to do a segment in a future show about dating profiles. And so I was asking what, guys look for in profiles, because I had asked you that on the first episode of the season. And one guy told me, he's like, I'm done with dinner dates for the first date. He's like, I'm done doing that. We're just going to drinks or coffee. Like, I'm done doing a whole dinner just to never talk to them again.
and some women are so against coffee dates.
I think it's perfect.
I did a park date. Like we just went for a walk.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think anything where you could sit and talk or walk and talk or whatever, anything where you can have an actual conversation is a great first date. I think dates were like movies. I think movies are terrible first dates because you can't talk.
Right.
You
But I
can't get
think
to know
being
the person.
active, so it kind of takes away the nervousness because you're doing stuff. And
that's true. I think anything where you can actually hold a legitimate conversation is a great way to start to get to know someone. That's the whole point of a first date, is to see if you're interested enough in this person to see them again. If you're doing something where you can't talk, then how are you going to know? You're not. I'm not one to think like, you have to take me to a fancy dinner, you have to do this or that. I just want to be able to talk to the person. If they want to take me somewhere fancy, that's fine, But if not, if they just want to do coffee date, like I had no issue with when I went out with Jared and we just did coffee. That was perfect. I was like, cool, that's the perfect first date, because like you're just getting to know them anyway. So
our first date was lunch.
Yeah, and it gave me time to go on a second date afterwards with you.
Double dipper.
I just happened to be in your area, which I did not plan, because I had that date planned with him before I had even talked to you. And it just
on our
happened
first
to
real
be.
date, we did Ramsey's. Nothing like high class, but
No,
it was
but
something else.
it was nice, and it wasn't like, it wasn't Applebee's, but it wasn't like you weren't.
I don't even know where there's an Applebee's anyway.
I don't know where there is either. I think most of them are gone. So yeah,
And Fridays are gone. I think it's just Chili's. Chili's won the whatever war that is.
I think there are still Fridays. There's one in Oswego.
They just closed the one by Woodfield, which
R.I.P. TGI Fridays.
You need flair.
I would be the one with so much flair.
Yep.
I would never have that problem. Flair come everywhere.
We'd be doing the hair thing from Wicked.
Toss. Yeah. Speaking of hair. Like
Looks
it?
good. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I just got my hair done today. So, fresh
Me
blowout.
too.
Yeah. I got a fresh blowout. Thanks, Natalie.
Fresh blowout.
Yeah. Thanks to Natalie at Frank Geronda in Naperville. So, like, I can't. That's the one thing. I've switched everything else to out here.
How was your first date? It was good. It ended with a fresh blowout.
That'd be amazing. So, what I was trying to say before was, if you're single this Valentine's Day, it's a Friday. I feel like you could still go out and have fun. Go meet up with friends. Go do something. Like, there's other single people out there who don't want to sit around and do nothing on a Friday. They just want to go out and, like, not focus on the fact that they're single. So I'm sure there are plenty of bars.
Just go on Tinder and just be like, don't want a relationship. Tinder. Let's just hook up Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day? That seems dangerous. No, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of bars that are doing like Galentine, whatever, Valentine's celebration.
I know White Castle did the Valentine's Day for a while. You had to make a reservation. They would put like tablecloths over the they made it fancy.
Yeah, you know that you told me that last year. I'm like, you're like, what do you want to do for Valentine's Day? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, I really want to go to White Castle. And I'm like, is he serious?
It's a big deal. Like they have flowers, tablecloths, everything. Mm-hmm. But you still have to eat White Castle.
Do you like White Castle?
I used to. I just
Do you still?
Not really. I don't eat that, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't seem like your thing. Okay. Instead of a news story this week, we actually have an update from last week's story. So Jennifer reached out and she's like, I'm like, I have questions for you. She's like, oh, I'll answer them. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna record them for you so you can play it back. So we had questions like, What was he drinking? What was the deal with your hairstylist? Like, why did she?
Why
would she
stay
do
in the
that?
ditch?
Yeah, all those things. So she explains them all.
We had a lot of questions. That was weird.
Yeah, like why didn't you lock the door?
We found out it was years ago. So
I think she says that, but I'm not sure. If she doesn't say it, this took place in 2011, so it was a little bit before we all knew about first date safety and all that stuff. So let's recap this. So Jennifer was our story last week. She went out with this guy named Aldon. Aldon had a fake ID in his car with a guy named Jason Smith or something like that. It wasn't him. Aldon was really nervous apparently, and he took her to Applebee's.
But what did he say? What did
she gets in the car and he goes, "You're the first Anglo-Saxon I've ever dated."
I've never heard that.
I don't think I've heard of that outside of like a history book from high school.
How would you know someone's an Anglo-Saxon? Like,
it's a white person.
Oh, that's not religious? Oh, I thought that was
a
religious thing.
It's a white person.
So there you go.
Yeah. So he says that to her and she's like, that's a weird way to phrase that, but sure. They go to Applebee's and he just starts doing shots. And she'll answer what kind of shots, but like he gets shit-faced. She's like, this is terrible. So she's like, let's go. He tries to tickle her, grope her, all that stuff. She's like, no, this is not happening. This drunk ass dude drives her home because he had picked her up, and she just gets out of the car and runs in her house. And he comes into the house behind her because she didn't lock her door, and he's trying to tickle her, and they end up throwing him out. Next morning, wake up, he's in her ditch. He didn't get very far. He's sleeping in her ditch. So she has a neighbor take care of it. Long story short, he ends up stalking her for 6 months. Her hairstylist is the one who set her up with him. It was, I think, the first and only blind date she's ever been on. So
yeah, I would be scared of blind dates after that, too.
Yeah. So we had questions. She answers all of them here.
To answer any questions that anybody might have. Okay, first of all, he was taking shots of tequila. Second of all, when we got back to my house and I ran inside, I didn't lock the door because we live in a community of like 700 people and we never lock our doors. Thirdly, the reason how he ended up in my ditch is after we pushed him outside the house, he apparently drove his car up to the beer store and left it there because when he was in the ditch, he had consumed lots of bottles of beer and half of like at least 12 and the other were still left unopened.
So the first thing I love, the beer store.
Oh man. Okay. What were you saying?
The beer store. Like yeah. I've never...
So they have drive-through beer stores wherever she's at. I don't know what state she's in. It's probably best that she doesn't tell us because we know that no one locks their doors. So like there's a drive-through beer store.
I mean, when I went to college and I would visit friends in different parts of Indiana, we pulled up, they were driving my car. He left the keys in the car. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, don't worry about it. Like, they leave keys in their cars. The doors are unlocked. People come. I mean, it's a thing. Like, in especially these rural areas.
You just don't even think about it. We live in the suburbs of Chicago, so we're like, lock that fucking door. You know?
I just love the beer store. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he drove, still drunk, still many shots in, goes, I'm going to go drive through this drive-through beer store and get more beer. But the car wasn't there when he was in the ditch. The beer was. So I think
it's just if you're pissed, go home and drink, or go somewhere else to drink.
He walks back without his car back to her house. So he found it again, and then ends up getting drunk in a ditch. This guy has been through some shit.
This guy deserves all the shit he gets because it's stupid decision after stupid decision.
Yeah. It's not going well for Aldon.
This was in 2012.
So 2012, not 11.
I really knew about dating safety, so I promise I learned my lesson on first dates after that. Actually, I don't think I ever went on another I never went on another blind date again, and I certainly never let them drive me anywhere after this experience. No, after about 6 months of him continuing to drive by my house and yell Jennifer out the window, I never saw him again. So I really don't ever know what happened to Aldon. can only imagine, but I have no idea where he went. Also did find a new hairdresser after that because she obviously set me up with someone that didn't even have a correct driver's license or ID. So yeah, that was the end of that. That was the end of my relationship with the hairdresser. So that's the story. My story about Dawn. It was absolutely insane. And I definitely learned my lesson on first dates.
I wonder where Aldon is right now.
I don't know.
I would love to hear his side of the story. That's the best part. Like, I would be like, okay.
Does he remember? He was so drunk.
He's probably like, I went out with her. I tried to, I thought she was into me. She wasn't. I got drunk. I'm like, I don't know.
I decided to tickle her. I decided to stalk her for a few months. No big deal.
I never understood, the stalking, because I've always talked, like, with relationships that ended, you're with someone and they talk about, like, oh, past boyfriends, yeah, they still try to call me. I would always have that, so that was always a sign that this probably isn't a good thing. But that's one thing that I never do. Like, I never go, like, I've always had, like, after I broke up with someone, they've always like tried to reach out once or twice, and I've kind of like interacted, but I've never like kind of like gone out of my way to reach out to them.
Yeah.
I just.
What about that last one?
Well, she just didn't leave. I've been in a couple relationships where like the ex-boyfriends constantly call, and I'm like, dude, this is fucked up. Like,
yeah,
that's and when, like, after a relationship's over, yeah, even the one that like it kind of hurt me, I was still like, I was cold turkey, like not talking to her. Then she reached out like a month later and was like, well, why haven't you reached out to me? It's like, what am I supposed to? But I think I think some people like that, and that was kind of and that's what my therapist said. That's a perfect sign of like, this is a toxic person, and you don't need to be, because you see
she wants to be chased, or whatever she was in wasn't working out. But pretty much every guy I've talked to or gone on a date with or whatever has followed up, checked in. They check in pretty consistently. I haven't heard from, what did I call him? Greg the Ghost? That's not his name. I haven't heard from him in a long time. I think he gave up. So, I don't know. But the rest of them, pretty much on a regular schedule, except for 8-Day, obviously. Never talked to him again. And then Christmas guy, not talking, not friends anymore, not anything. So, which was for the best.
I've had women do that to me, like a Mexico trip, Cancun, whatever we call her. After we broke up for good the second time, she FaceTimed me like maybe like 3 or 4 weeks later, and I just reached out to her like, what did you need? And she's like, oh, nothing. And then a couple buddies and my therapist even thinks like she did the FaceTime because then you're like, answer like, oh, hey, how you doing? And kind of wanted to rekindle. The fact that I like shot it down, nothing. I don't know if I ever told the story. I ended up talking to like either her sister or her cousin like a month or two later, and I didn't realize it. When she told me her last name and where she lived, I was like, wait, you're not really. And she was like, yeah, I think she's like, yeah, that was my sister. I was like, and I'm like, listen, we had a relationship and it ended poorly. I don't think this is a good idea. And she's like, yeah, probably not. But so then I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna get a call and say, how dare you talk to my sister, which I had no idea, but I never did get it, which was good.
Maybe she didn't tell her. Maybe she's like, I don't want this drama. I'm not. I
remember the last name. I was like, ooh. I'm like, and you're around that area? She's like, yep. I'm like, this is too. Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty funny. Like the one that like it hurt, because I never really got like really really dumped before. Because I never put myself in this situation. Like my therapist said, just don't. So I took everything out. I cold turkey for like a month. And then when she called me, that's the first thing. Obviously, you weren't into me because you didn't reach out to me. I was like, no. I was like, no. We talked about like you told me you didn't think we should continue talking, so I cut you off, and that's why. And then that's how I knew. But it was still newly in me, and I was still hurt, and I was like, I need to cut it off, and then things happen, and I finally like saw the light. I was like, what am I fucking doing? But I just thought it was funny. It's not like, hey, how are you doing? I missed you. No, it's like, how dare you not send anything to me for the last month? I was like, right? Yeah, it was the point. I'm fucking trying to get rid of you.
That's
when she kept calling. She kept doing things, and then things would happen, and I sent a text message like, who is this? And then I haven't heard.
You know what you were? You were a backup guy.
Right. And
We
then when
all
she
had a
couldn't,
backup guy.
right, she knew she had power over me.
Mm-hmm.
And so once she knew that I just wasn't caving in and would run to her right away, she was like, okay, yeah, as my therapist said, she lost her power over you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's interesting.
Every girl has a guy that they're not that into that is a backup guy. That when they're lonely or their feelings are hurt or they just, the person that they really are into is not responding the way they want them to, they talk to backup guy to make them feel better.
But it's weird because I was the main guy, and then
I don't
she
know
didn't.
that you were.
Maybe
It
not.
sounds like there was multiple.
I asked her point blank. I was like, "Did you cheat on me during this?" She's like, "No, I didn't cheat on you, except for like the last." But I mean, you can't believe what you can't believe.
Well, you
It
never
was.
talked about being exclusive either, though, did you?
I tried, but that was kind of a sore subject. That's how I
Yeah.
knew like it wasn't meant to be. That's where I wish I can go back
Uh-huh.
and cause so I knew she had other people after her, and then she even sat down with me and we talked about it, and she's like, my therapist says I need to go with the good guy, and I never go with the good guy, you're the good guy. So
Mm-hmm.
she pretty much said like, you won. I was like, what do you mean I won? And then like I wanted things to get more serious, and like you talk about timing, like she decides we're in bed, we're about to go to bed, and then she tells me like I just can't be exclusive with you. I still have feelings for someone else. So at that point, that's when I say, fuck this, get up and leave. Now it took me about 15 minutes and I said, fuck this. I got up and left. I was so pissed. And then the next morning she called me and she never called me. So that's where like right there, I wish I could have gone back and been like, just end it there,
Mm-hmm.
because it would have been fun. There were so many points that I'm like, I should have ended it because I saw something, but you don't, because you don't want to be alone. And that's what I tell people is like, that's how I always was. And then finally after Mexico Girl, I realized, you know what? Fuck this alone thing. I would rather be alone than feel this way. So it took me like a year or two after being divorced to finally realize like I'm okay if I'm alone. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give in and do this like crazy, because I was just like with her and with Mexico Girl. Like I gave them so many chances. There were so many signs, so many fucking signs that said get out, and I just didn't. I think because those were those relationships. I felt like I don't know. I and the one that broke my heart, I know why. That was the first one that I actually felt for someone. Like the others were like, it was fun. This one I felt something, and I think
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the sexual chemistry was there that I hadn't had with the others, so that was the first time. But then like the Mexico trip, Mexico Girl, I didn't feel any physical chemistry, but I think I just truly didn't want to be alone, and
Yeah.
it was nice. But then I'd also like I want to put up with this shit. And both those relationships, they were different. Mexico one was more like why am I with her? Every time I dropped her off or left, I'm just like, why the fuck am I with her? And then the one that broke my heart, they're just like, I knew it wasn't gonna last, because I at the end of the day, and I even told her this, like I never trusted you, and that's crazy. Like I never trusted her. I always felt like when we weren't together, she was doing something else, and those are like where you can go back and be like, just end it. Like it's you gotta pull the band-aid off, and that's what I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So just from hearing this again, like, we've talked about this several times. I think you were backup guy. Like,
Probably,
even when you
yeah,
thought you were main guy, you were backup
yeah.
guy. And I can think there was someone else that she was really into, and her therapist is like,
No,
go for the nice guy.
there was
But
someone else she was into,
you were still
but
backup guy.
he
She
wasn't
was
into her,
right. And
and that's
that's
what
why she was falling on you, because you were giving her all this attention.
right.
You were always there if she needed someone to go on a date with or do something with or have like, not feel so alone. It was you.
And it's weird because she would do things that you wouldn't think like a backup guy. Yeah, no, I knew there was someone else that she had feelings
Mhm.
for, but he didn't give two shits about her,
Mhm.
and that's the whole thing that's why it broke up. And I kept telling myself, and my therapist even said this. I was like, this guy could have called. I'm glad he did when he did. He could have waited 3 more months to call. She would have stuck with me for 3 more, and the
Mhm.
longer this would have gone on, the harder it would have been to take it. And I know it. And so I made a comment like after we broke up and stuff. I told her like she kept trying to call me, and I'm like, I need a couple days, all right? And then, because she's like, I'll give you the answers you want, which she never gave me the answers I want. She was fucking hammered. But I remember I said, well, I hope you two end up happy. She's like, we're not anything. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, I reached out to him and he says he doesn't want anything right now. So it was fun. I was back up to her, and then she was the backup to him.
Yeah.
Which was funny. So
I mean,
it was crazy. But that's what. But I think I needed that. I needed like a fucking just a kick in the ass, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, and I always talk about the thing I still to this day is I just like I mean I'll never get the answers, but I'm just curious, like, you know. But it is what it is. I mean, I didn't want to go through that shit, and I had a chance to end it, but I was just too much. I mean, like I said, I was just too much of a pussy. I was kind of like I was kind of like in that. Like I would always my therapist would always tell me, she's like, you weren't in love with her, you were in love with the situation, because she took me away kind of from my life. She lived pretty close, so I was able to go over there, and it kind of took me away from my life because with the work and the kids and stuff, it was hard. So
yeah. So I think, like, I've heard people say, would you go through all the experiences that you've experienced in life again? Would you make the same decisions, do the same thing? And I would, because I think everything I've experienced and everything I've gone through has, like, brought me to where I am and made me who I am now. So if I hadn't experienced those things, I wouldn't be the same person I am now.
I wanted to experience them, but I wish I would have used some common sense.
Yeah. But it taught you, like, now you have that foresight to be like, well, I did this
realize,
once.
and here's the thing, like with you, like now I realize, like I always thought, like, oh, they didn't do a whole lot for me, every now and then they would cook or do little things, not a lot. And like being with you, like the constant things you do for me, and I appreciate it, but I'm just like, they never would have done it in a million years, like consistently.
Like what?
Just like being there for me, or like if having a rough day, kind of like stepping back or helping out, and just I don't think they ever would have done that. I don't think they ever would have wanted to be in my life with my kids, just because the one was like her kid was growing up and the other one didn't have kids, and she would always talk about that her ex-husband didn't want to have kids with her, and that really hurt her. And she's like, I can't end up with someone with kids. I was like, then what are we doing? Oh, well, this is different. And then what's funny is she ended up marrying someone with kids. I was like, that's a kicker. But yeah, that's funny. I think that's funny because let's see, 2 of my relationships have remarried. I don't know if I mean, I think the other ones are fine. I don't go looking.
I think one of mine is back with his ex-wife.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
I don't know for sure, but
that's crazy.
That's glad.
I don't like if I'm done with someone with a relationship, like I'm just gonna get rid of them. If they're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever we had, I usually get rid of it because there's no reason to.
Yeah. Well, we were friends up until very recently. We were still friends. Like, we didn't talk or anything, but like you watch my stories every now and then or whatever. And then I posted about it being a year since our first date. And I think after that, he was like, we don't need to be friends anymore, which is true.
Right.
Like, I could have deleted him too. I just don't give a shit. So I don't delete people. But I think that was his, I'm going to delete her now. I'm done. This doesn't need to be a thing anymore. And it doesn't. So it's fair.
No, I feel like, even if the relationship didn't end, like, I think, so when we broke up, if we would have stayed broken up, I probably would have stayed I probably would have kept you on there because it wasn't a toxic breakup or it wasn't anything crazy. But then if you probably would have started dating another guy, I probably would have been like, yeah, I don't need to see this. But,
But we were doing a show together, so you would have.
Right. So it would have been interesting.
Yeah, that would have been. Did not work out, so you got lucky there. That was not my guy.
Or is it luck, or was it all determined, all pre-planned? It was like a wrestling event.
It was supposed to wake you up.
Right? This is the highs and lows. Oh, they're doing it for the podcast. They're doing this for the podcast.
Okay, yeah. So I did hear that. Did you guys? I had a question like a while ago. Like, this is back like right after we broke up and stuff. Did you guys just break up for content for the show? No, that was real. That was a very real breakup. That episode's very hard to watch. Like, even for people who don't know me, they're like, that is a hard episode to watch, because it is. It gets we get back to where, we're joking around and stuff at the end, but the beginning's rough.
Yeah.
And so it's very real. That was a very real thing we went through. And I also had someone ask me how I feel now, because there was a point where I was like, I'm going to put myself first and all this stuff. And like, I love me more. I still do.
I just think we stepped back. Like we took
Yeah.
everything was happening. To me, everything was happening quickly, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like I was like I'm not sure because I think it was because past relationships. I'm like, so I just needed to step back and be like, okay, I need to just like take a break on this, pause this for a second. But I didn't want to lose you,
Mm-hmm.
like as a friend and stuff. And so I think that helped. And then I think you always talk about we just took the summer and we didn't like there was no labels. We just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like did what we needed to do. And I also had more time in the summer and we just kind of hung out and reconnected. And it's just kind of like
I think we just need to spend more time together. I was asked if I was sacrificing. They were like, do you feel like you sacrificed that by like doing no labels and just waiting around? I don't think I was waiting around. We were pretty much on the same page the whole time. Like, it wasn't like I was waiting for you to be like, okay, now we can be back together. We were together. Like, we were
we hung out the whole summer.
We were together. And once we came to the like realization, like, this is something, but we don't know what it is, we decided we don't want to talk about it on the show because we didn't know. And we just wanted to see where it went. And because I feel like I was getting everything I wanted, because I just wanted to spend more time with you. I just wanted to be with you more. And I was getting that. So I was like, I don't need a title. I don't need all this stuff. Do I want it? Yeah, of course I do. But like, did I need it? No. And I think that gave you the space to figure out what you were thinking and how you were feeling. And then we, talk about moving fast.
I don't even know when we decided. Like, I mean, after the summer, I knew it was something more, but I still.
You went from not wanting me to meet the kids because you were, you're very protective, which is great. What made you feel like it's the time? I want her to meet them.
I think we just spent more time together, but also the kids were asking too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kept always, hearing about you, and so I think eventually, like the kids wanted to do it, and I just felt it was also because one other person met the kids, and it was just kind of I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there's like a time, even if like I don't think even if like we were serious, even if we were just let's say we decided we're hanging out this summer, we're just friends, and we'll go from there. I still would have had you like meet the kids because eventually it was a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't any. I don't have anything like it's got to be a serious relationship. No, you can meet them.
Well,
and if
we had no labels when I met the kids.
Right.
So, because I remember your daughter was laughing about it because she's like, they kiss.
Yeah, no. So So my ex-wife told me, yeah, McKenna was saying like they're not friends because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, your daughter's like, Daddy and Christina aren't friends because they still kiss. So it was funny. No, I don't think there was a time. I mean, I figured you were ready, and like I said, it's different when you're a parent rather than because I've had that mix. Like I've dated non-parents and I've dated parents. It's cool dating like non-parents because like there's not a lot of like you don't have to deal with like especially. I think I didn't like dating kids my kids' age because then there's more to handle.
You didn't like dating women with kids your age?
Right.
Okay.
What did I say?
I don't like dating kids.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But just wanted to clarify that for
then but the non-parents like they just don't understand like and they can't and the thing I always heard like I get it because I have nieces and nephews and I'm like no, it's different.
It's different.
So
it's different in that when you're a parent you understand that like if you have to cancel because your kid is sick or because plans changed because like your ex needs you to pick them up or whatever and we had a date planned, that like some people would be like, no, you gotta, if you cancel on me, you're canceled. Like that's fucked up. When you're a parent, you're like, yeah, I get it. Because the same thing could happen to me. Like if my son was like, hey mom, I need help with something, and it was the same day we had a date, I'd be like, sorry, gotta cancel.
Yep.
Like even we were only dating for a few weeks and my daughter came into town. And so I was like, oh, I can't see you this weekend because my daughter's in town. And you're like, okay. Like you just understood because you're a parent too. And so I think that's where it gets like people who don't have kids don't fully understand the time commitment and the fact that things can change last minute. Things can like, it could be like 5 minutes before the date. I'm so sorry. I got to cancel on you that something came up with my kids. And another parent is usually, not always, is going to understand. Be like, yeah.
The single parents didn't like when I would say, like, my kids are my first priority.
It's
like, would
true.
that ever change? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get close, but you'll never overtake the kids' priorities.
Exactly. Like, and for me, for us, I wouldn't want that. I would want, if you were like, I'm prioritizing you over my kids, I'd be like, no, stop it. You know, like, that's not a thing. Because, like, I'm always going to prioritize my kids first. And my kids are adults, and I'm still going to prioritize them first because it doesn't stop. People are like, oh, once they're 18, you're done. No, you're not. No, you're not. Trust me. So you're never done parenting. You're still doing it. My dad's still parenting me. So, like, it doesn't ever end. You always have to be there for your kids. There's always things that are going to come up. Like, it's a thing that doesn't ever stop. There's not an age where you're like, okay, you're this age, I don't need to parent you anymore. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like, I would have to tell people right off, like, I don't want any more kids. And then they're like, well, do you think you would change your mind? I'm like, no, that's why I said I don't want any more.
Right.
I mean, in the beginning, I was pretty much, I don't want to get married again, and I don't want any more kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, why don't you want to get married again? I'm like, if the situation was good, yes, I would think about getting married again, but, like, it's not something I'm really thinking about.
That's a question we got. Like, when's the wedding? And I'm like, we're not talking about that. Do I want to get married again? Yeah.
I think you do.
I do.
Yeah.
Am I in a rush? No. Because, like, I'm so comfortable with where we're at. Like, I don't need anything to change. I mean, maybe one day. Would that be great? Do I joke around about it? Yeah, I do. There is a joke. I don't know if you know the full joke, because I didn't tell you everything. But there's a joke, like, when I caught the bouquet at Rachel's wedding, I'm like, summer 2026. That's what I told everyone. So, like, if that was true, you would have to be shopping soon because you need time to plan. But I don't expect any of that. Don't freak out.
We'll have a reception at Applebee's. What's wrong with that?
There we go. I love it. I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do, because I'm comfortable with where I'm at, and I don't want you to, like, I don't want to get married because you feel like you have to. Like, oh, I have to marry her or else she's gonna believe me. I'm not. Like, that's not a thing that I need to, like, continue. So, like, it's something, yeah, I would want to at some point, but not today. Like, I don't know. I'm cool with where we're at and what we're doing, so.
Would you sign a prenup?
Yeah, I would have my own. I'm never getting married again without one. Because you have one, and that's the thing that people don't understand. You have one either way. You either have one that the state decides for you, or you come up with your own. Go in with your own. I mean, people are so unromantic. You know what? At this point, and I think you're probably on the same page, like, I love you. I don't see us ever breaking up. But do I know for sure that 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, that something's not going to happen? That we're not going to end up working out in the end? Like, I hope we do. But after being divorced, I feel like you get a little bit more realistic about things.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I hope nothing ever happens, but I don't know for sure. Because I can't see into the future. So, like, if we were to get married, obviously you want to be pretty sure about that. But, like, I know it's not romantic to have one, but it's just like a safety net.
Oh, people take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I mean, if one person is absolutely, like, loaded and they built, like, they built everything themselves, you know, and you think the person you marry, but you never know when things get bad what people will stoop to.
Exactly.
You don't.
And that's also, honestly, why I'm so comfortable with you, because I see how you went through a divorce before. And I see how you treat your ex-wife and all that. You still respect her. You still are, like, you know, you're still friends. You're still able to be supportive. You're still able to co-parent together. And so that's what makes me feel like, you know, if we were to one day break up, you wouldn't try to fuck me over. You wouldn't do everything you could to try to hurt me and things like that. You would probably, hopefully, be the same way, where you respected me.
I wouldn't see less Amazon packages show up at the porch.
When the Amazon guy be like, what happened?
Yeah.
I used to come here every day. Listen, we don't have joint money. It's fine.
Oh, I know. It was worse when I was married and those packages were there every day. I was like, another one?
Yeah. That's coming out of your account. This is not. This is coming out of mine. Okay, so I have a question. I have two. Let's do. I might edit some of this because some of the stuff is
vulgar.
No.
No.
What was vulgar?
No, I want vulgar. I want some like crazy fucking story.
No, we don't really have anything crazy.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Okay, I'll let you pick. So we have. I'm just gonna let you pick a number, 1 or 2.
2.
Okay, this is fitting because this is a Valentine's Day one. My girlfriend and I have been together for just under a year. We met in late February of last year, so we have yet to experience a Valentine's Day together. I'm divorced, and my ex and I didn't really do Valentine's Day. We always thought it was kind of dumb and commercial. Our lives were swamped with kid activities and family events and work, so we didn't really take the time to do stuff for each other, which in retrospect is probably one of the reasons we didn't make it. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes with my girlfriend. She's thoughtful and sweet and loves all holidays. I recently mentioned Valentine's Day and how I never really did it, and how I think it's kind of
a home. Is this me?
I know, it sounds like you. I mentioned Valentine's Day and how I really never just did it, and how I think it's kind of a Hallmark holiday. And she stopped smiling and seemed disappointed. But being the sweet person she is, she said not to worry about it and that she doesn't need it to be a big deal. So do I listen to her? Do I keep it low key? Or is she wanting more and just not saying it? This is the best line I've ever seen. Is there a reason women don't just tell you what they want from you?
So she wants it, but she's not going to make it like it's the end of the world. But if you do something for her, she will love it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go out of your way, like go crazy overboard, but maybe plan like. And here's the thing that I would always do, like, so something like that, right? So Valentine's Day is on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So to really fucking mess with her, take her out on a Thursday, right? Or something what she's not expected. You don't have to go above and beyond, but just do something a little more because you don't celebrate it. And she understands. She sounds like she understands. It's not going to dictate the relationship, but inside of her, she's like, I would really like him to do something. And so she knows you don't like it. So if you're doing something that you feel like is uncomfortable to you, she'll love it. So I would just say, like, go middle of the road. You don't go, oh, here's flowers. Maybe get her like some flowers. And maybe like, even make her dinner or give her like a surprise or something. Just do something that shows that like, hey, I know you're not, I'm not into this, but I'm gonna put a little effort into it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's gonna go a long way, and she'll love it.
That's all any girl wants is effort and to feel like special. And so I'm thinking that's all she wants. She just wants to feel special in some way. And so it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to write anything in the sky or anything crazy, but just doing something to make her feel special.
I gotta cancel that. Damn
it. You can do it. I'm not saying no to you. Are you canceling something on your phone?
No, my daughter is like, hi, so that means she wants something.
Oh. Okay. Oh,
and
no.
There goes your sign.
Whatever. I'm just gonna leave it.
I'm still up strong.
You are. See, you're better at taping than I am.
Boom.
I like it.
Do I get to do a sports corner again?
You get your sports corner, but it has to be less than 20 minutes because the last one was 20 minutes. But I don't know where to cut because everything.
Oh, you could have edited. Yeah.
No, but it all flows together. Like everything, like is connected, and so I'm like, it's hard to like cut things out. So you can have a sports corner, but let's keep it 5 minutes.
I don't know how I'm gonna do a sports corner after football. I mean, I got basketball and stuff, so yeah.
I'm sure you will find something.
Yeah, because I can go off on this Luca thing.
Yeah, you can do that now. I mean, at this point when this airs, Super Bowl's over.
Yeah.
So, Max's Sports Corner. Go for it. Yeah.
Oh. All right, so with the Super Bowl coming, like, everyone knows where I stand. I'm still convinced the Chiefs are going to win. I'm rooting for the Eagles, and I think the Eagles are the better team, but just something scares me. So here's my future. The Chiefs are going to win this year. They're going to go back to the Super Bowl next year. And like I said, the team to dethrone them will be the Lions. This media that's portraying the Lions like lost their window, fuck that. Like, we still have everyone's pretty much coming back. Our GM is he's going to make this team better. Oh, you lost coaches. That's great. We got new coaches. 2 years ago, no one knew who the fuck Ben Johnson was. Now he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. So And now Myles Garrett is available, who's the best defensive player in the league. Yes, Steeler fans, he's the best. And the Lions could get him, but they're going to have to give up a lot. And I was kind of talking with people. I'm like, I think you do it, because and then you have a 2-year window. Yeah, you give up a lot of draft picks that you could use, but I mean, man, you got to go for it. I don't think they're going to, because that's not how they operate. But man, if they do get Myles Garrett, holy shit, it is real. But I think the Lions are going to be fine. I think Bear fans need to chill the fuck out a little bit, because they just think Ben Johnson's going to wave this magic wand and go from there. Tom Brady talks about it's football IQ. It's from the shoulders up. And watching Caleb, I think Caleb has an unbelievable future. I think he's so athletic. He has an amazing arm, but I think he has trouble reading defenses. I think after his first and second read, that's when he would just freak out and roll out of the pocket. But I think the Bears can be better, but you have to build the lines first. They're all talking about getting this running back from Boise. I'm like, no, just go. Just because you get offensive linemen doesn't mean you're going to have a good line. So I think Bear fans, I think the future is good. Like, you can have a good team, but they just think like, oh, we got this great coaching staff. Yeah, if you have a good coaching staff, but if you don't have the players, and you're going to lose Keenan Allen, and you're going to have no running backs. So I think the Bears, they made a good pick, and and he's building a good staff. He's going to build a good staff, but you need your GM to help out too. And outside of like first and second round picks, the GM has kind of failed to do that. So I just like the disrespect the Lions are getting. And everyone's like, oh, they're going to take a step back. Well, of course they're going to take a step back. They won 15 games. So if the Lions win 12 games, technically it's a step back. But I just think this whole media, like, they're picking the Lions third and fourth in division, which I think is hilarious. So bring it on. I'll do real quick, too, the whole Luca trade. I think people need to stop with the Luca trade. Like, yes, the Mavericks didn't want to pay him the $354 million. They felt that AD would help their team more than Luca. I think for the next 2 or 3 years, AD is going to help the Mavericks get pretty far in the playoffs. But then after that, it's over, and then Luca's young. My only thing that I didn't like about the trade was I thought they could have got more for Luca. I would have asked for AD and probably a couple more players, but we'll see. Now Anthony Davis is going to be playing his natural position, which is the 4, which he's going to be better at. He already got hurt, but that's the thing, and we'll see how Luca does. So, I mean, everyone's, the Dallas Maverick fans are sending death threats to the GM, and they had a coffin. They had a coffin outside the stadium.
Wow.
I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I'm one of the biggest fans there are. I would never go that far. That is just insane.
Well, that's unhinged. But
yeah,
I think
that's what fan is short for, fanatical.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know. I haven't heard any updates, because I stopped following it after the first 2 days. But something happened. There was drama involved.
Well,
right?
there's a scene from last year's, after they made it to the NBA Finals. There's a video of Luca with a beer, and Michael Finley, who's a Chicago kid, he used to play. He's in one of their personnel people. He comes by and grabs a beer from him. Now, there's a lot of people saying, but Luca's European. That's kind of the way it is. They have a cigarette and a drink after a game. That's just their thing. I just truly think they wanted him to come back stronger this offseason, be in shape and ready to go, and I don't think he did it. And a lot of it has to do with Mark Cuban's not in charge anymore. Even though he is in charge of some player personnel, he doesn't have full control anymore. And I think, and the Dallas Mavericks GM is a former Nike employee. He has got a good relationship with players. He wanted AD, and he thought AD is better than Luca. Now, like, it's probably not going to turn out great, but I think it is what it is. Sometimes you got to do that. We never see a blockbuster trade superstar for superstar like that. And people got to forget when AD played his natural position at 4, that's when the Lakers won the championship, even though it was in the COVID bubble. So
your reaction to when that happened?
I was shocked. I thought it was,
oh my God, I didn't know who any of these people were, because I've never heard of any of them.
It was like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, and it's all of a sudden.
And you're just like, oh my God. And you're turning on stuff, and I'm like, what is happening?
Because everyone's like, this can't be real. This can't be real.
Yeah.
This can't be real. It's just like, because, players get traded, but like superstars leave in free agency. You never see superstar for superstar because the salaries, they have to match up. Luca's not going to do it. He's going to be able to until LeBron leaves. It's not a knock on LeBron. It's just they're both they need the ball in their hands. So once LeBron, so this is a great succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
Once LeBron retires, Luca's going to take over that team, and that's Luca's team. And now you have a superstar for the next 10 or 15 years. The Lakers do this all the time. They got Shaq and Kobe. Then they later on they got Paul Gasol, and then they got LeBron, and they always seem to have that superstar. And the Mavs were willing to do that. Like I said, I thought the Mavs should have got a little bit more for him. But if they win a title, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna have to watch Luca for the next 10 or 15 years in a Laker jersey. So we'll see. I mean, it was exciting. It actually took some shine off the Super Bowl because people. I mean, in a million years, I never thought they'd be talking about NBA a week before the Super Bowl, and that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then it realized, so if this trade can happen, anyone can get traded now. And there was rumors going around and stuff. So yeah, but every single person said, like, the guy that broke it is like, everyone thought his phone got hacked because there's no way. There's no way they would trade him. Not in a million years. And it happened. I like it because it's like, it makes the NBA exciting again.
You want to talk about what we're doing?
We're trying to get to Arizona to go to spring training.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going on our first trip together. So, I mean, we did.
I hope, right? We got to book it.
Yeah. We spent a weekend in Wrigleyville in August for Pearl Jam, but and that was like a little bit of a getaway, but it was local, so it wasn't like a trip. Like it was an hour drive. But this is our first time actually traveling together.
I just want to book it because
I know
tickets keep going up and down.
I know.
So
we'll check in the middle of the week.
We'll do it by Tuesday, and then
we'll figure it out. We're gonna go. We're going.
We're going because our friends are there. So
yeah, we're gonna go to spring training.
I think he invites me every year, and I always like blow it off. So
we're actually doing it.
I was like, you can plan it.
So we're going to. Where are we going? Not Mesa. Why can't I think of it? Tempe.
Well, it's in Tempe. I think the Cubs are still in Mesa.
Okay, it's all like right there together. But we're trying to stay in Tempe. So if anyone has recommendations, let us know.
Because you got Tempe, Phoenix.
Yeah, everything's
Mesa,
all like right
Scottsdale,
there. Yeah. So if you guys have any recommendations, things that we need to do, see places we need to go eat, let us know.
Pizza place, the famous pizza place in Phoenix.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. So yeah,
we went to a good pizza place last night. I don't think it was the best I've had. I think it was good, but I don't.
But how was that pasta?
Pasta was good.
It was so good.
I have like a top 5 pizza, so it was like slightly outside of it, but it's still good.
Where'd we go? I just want to see if you can say it again.
Piccolo Buca.
Yeah, Piccolo Buco.
Buco.
Yeah, I love that place. So it was the first time we had been, but we met up with your friends, my friends too.
You remembered them this time.
I remember the whole thing. Yeah, it was our friends that came to my birthday, and I was blackout. So I remember them being there. I just didn't really remember what I said to them. But I do from last night. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, it was cheaper than I thought.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for dinner. I didn't even...
Because the wine was comped, so I think that's what helped.
Comped, kind of. I pay for it. It just was one of my bottles.
It wasn't on the bill, so to me it's comped. You didn't do a boomerang last night. I was shocked.
No, I was just in the moment. I was being present.
But I mean, we always, like, every time I pick up a glass, I'm like, where's she at? She's going to ask the boomerang.
Yeah. So, sorry for breaking your dry streak.
Yeah. But it's hard to, red wine with Italian food and pizza, like, you just, and it's the Italian in me.
And you picked the place.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up. Please follow us on our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We have a very inactive X account. I'm going to make a Blue Sky one because people are really starting to like migrate over there. So I'm going to create a Blue Sky account for us soon. We'll see. There's a lot of things.
Is that like Twitter?
Yeah.
Or is that like Instagram?
It feels like Twitter to me. I don't know. Or X, whatever you want to call it. But it's not owned by Meta or Elon Musk.
Pretty soon it's going to be called Elon.
Not Blue Sky. That's the whole thing. That's why people are drawn to it, because it's not owned by any billionaires that are trying to break into government right now. So with that, please rate, review, subscribe. It legitimately helps us if you rate or subscribe us. If you're going to rate us, Give us
And if you rate and subscribe us, no tariffs, I promise.
Not from us.
Not from us. We're a tariff-free zone here.
That's right.
The No Dick Pics podcast.
So yeah, please follow us, and we will be back next Tuesday.
Peace.
Bye.